Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ben, and in this episode of the Smoking Hot Confessions Barbecue Podcast, we're talking to a man who has created his own niche in the world of low and slow barbecue. Hey family, I hope you're well wherever you are and you got that thin blue smoke rolling. This episode is super cool. We're talking today with Adriano Andrade, an Aussie pitmaster originally from Brazil who has his own South American rub business, a butcher shop, a barbecue competition team, and is part of the meatstock crew. So this is going to be really cool to find out all about the South American angle on barbecue, and we're going to explore some of the differences between Aussie and the US, different styles of barbecue, and how he's brought them all together in this new niche that he's created within the barbecue scene. Now, before we get into that, I've just got a couple of announcements that I need to run by you first. First up, I just want to let you know that our merch is available over on the website. We've got our t-shirts, our hoodies, we've got beanies, we've still got a couple of caps available, we've got our beautiful tumblers there as well. So make sure you check them out. And while you're there, if you're at the beginning of your barbecue journey, grab a copy of our ebook, The Beginner's Guide to Real Barbecue. It's free at the moment. While you're at the website, a pop-up window is going to appear. You're just going to put your details in there and we'll send it straight out to your inbox. It's everything you need to know to go from zero to hero in the world of low and slow backyard barbecue. And a big thank you this afternoon to the people in the Smoking Hot Confessions barbecue community on Facebook that are joining us. That's our group that we run that. That's our Facebook community. It's where we do these live Facebook recordings, these live podcast recordings, and it's also where we just hang out and talk about barbecue. It's family friendly. Everybody's welcome. We don't even care if you cook on gas. So just come along and join us. It's a good time. It's a fun place to hang out. If you're watching this later on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, a subscribe, and hit that little notification bell. If you're watching it on Facebook, it's all about the likes, the comments, and the shares. IGTV, we love those cute little love hearts, and leave a comment for us and give us a follow as well. And if you are listening on a podcasting app, please take 2 minutes, give us a 5-star rating and review. It helps to push us up the charts, get our message of barbecue love out there more. And because of those ratings and reviews, we have been as high as number 3 in the Australian podcast charts for food and number 6 in America, which is a massive achievement. So thank you very much to all of you that have taken the time to leave those reviews for us. Now, I think that's about all the blah, blah, blah you need out of me. Let's get Adriano in here.
This is the internationally awarded Smoking Hot Confessions Barbecue Podcast with your host, Ben Arnott. How long's it been since your last confession?
Adriano, good to see you, buddy. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Mate, you're welcome. It's great to have you here. So tell me, how are the school holidays treating you?
It's a lot of work. Have the kids around, a lot of Netflix, watching movies and popcorn. Not that bad.
Fair enough. And all those new barbecue shows that are on there as well, I hope?
Yeah. But that's normally after hours when the kids go to bed.
Oh, okay. Cool. Fair enough.
They think it's a little bit boring, so the only thing they want to do, they want to eat. So.
Fair enough. So speaking of eating, then, what was the last thing that you barbecued?
Oof. So the last thing I barbecued at home was a picanha rum cap last weekend. Just Weber method. Just reverse sear and finish off in steaks. But last night I was at Weber Grill Academy. I helped them from time to time. I help them with the classes and demo. So I cook, I don't know how many kilos of chicken wings, but yeah. I think we had an event last night with Par Life, so it was good.
That's awesome. Weber Academy. How did you get involved with that?
Oh, I just knocked the door and asked, please, can I be around? I know Adam, the chef, the manager, and we became good friends. And every time he needs extra par hands, he call me.
Oh, very cool, very cool. Yeah. And so, what is your favorite thing to throw on the barbecue?
A par of rum cap. At the moment I'm just I'm in love with tri-tip. That's another cut quite common in Brazil. So the way we do, we put in a rotisserie and just try to go low temperature with charcoal first half an hour, 40 minutes, and finish off, just to crisp it up outside. It just shave.
Oh, nice. Okay. And so do you cut it up into steaks like a picanha and then sort of fold it in half and put it on the rotisserie, or do you just put the whole thing in one big chunk?
Yeah, just one big chunk, and it just roast for a bit, and just and you start shaving like a year or so it's kind of get it. So the whole idea of Brazilian barbecue, probably we're gonna go a little bit deep, but it's more about, it's not a meal. So we don't cook a steak. We cook a steak and slice it in small pieces. It's more a get together and eat and drink, and that's why every single time you see the people actually cooking Brazilian barbecue, so it's small pieces of meat, different meats in different times. So it's a good experience.
Yeah, it's very cool indeed. Okay, so tell me, how did you get into barbecue?
Oh, that's probably part of my childhood. Is everybody in Brazil is, I think, it's a little bit different. Is just because we get together. I think because in Brazil we have a large Italian community, like big families, and Sunday lunch is a big thing. And it goes back a little bit. I think you guys already touched before, but it is mental health. So every Sunday, people get together, the whole family, and that's when you catch up, and your parents go in and say, "How are you feeling? How's your week?" And that's kind of the I call here in my house, because I try to do this, a similar thing, is the reset button. So every week you have the whole week, and towards the end, you get together and say, "Oh, how was your week? Anything new? Anything different?" And that's okay. Let's go for the next week.
Yeah, I think that's something that we've lost here in Australia, in the Australian culture, quite a bit. We seem to have lost that family connection on Sundays. It's a bit of a shame.
Yeah, so for me, it's normally on Sunday here. I have two barbecues running. One is only with chicken wings, because I know my boys is gonna bring the friends, because they are in the park, and so like lunchtime they show up, and that's always I have chicken wings for everybody.
That's awesome. How old are the kids?
11, 9.
Okay, all right. So they're not teenagers yet. So you can still just do 2 or 3 kilos of chicken wings, not 12 or 13 kilos of chicken wings.
Yeah, but I probably gonna have to start together, because I think they're getting a lot of friends, new friends. Because before it was just 1 or 2, now is few. I think they are selling tickets at the park and bring over.
Yeah. That's some great entrepreneurial spirit, though. You got to admire that.
Yeah, no. But I need a percentage.
Yeah. Mate, as long as you're clipping the tickets as well, then that's good.
Yeah, it's good. So that kind of goes to childhood. Remember my dad actually a small barbecue in my backyard. It's a little bit different. South America, you don't have a backyard because the houses are pretty side by side. So you have an outside sort of area, and so a small grill cooking. We always had a joke saying is, because the meat in Brazil is quite expensive, we had 1 steak and 7 kilos of sausage. So so easy to feel first the kids, and we finish off with just a small piece of red meat. And but that sort of thing, had a couple of things happen in my life, and I get a couple of friends. When I was turned 14, 15, I started going traveling with friends, and that's when I was the only one knew how to actually turn on a stove or oven or barbecue. So they like, the whole idea was it was like I was between 7 or 11 kids all together traveling and staying in friends' house, and the whole idea was kind of, we get all the cash and I turn around to me and say, "Oh, yeah, go shopping and see what we can get." And that's the barbecue part. Start make a lot of mistakes early on and get in trouble with my friends and getting better slowly. But that's it.
Yeah, right. Okay. So were you leading the Friends astray, or were the Friends leading you astray?
Oh, I think it's more about me.
You were the naughty boy. So tell me then, how did you get into the competition scene?
So what happened is I work I have a day job. I'm an engineer, so I do simulation. So I'm part of the integration department for IT company, and in the same company, we have Kyle from Rug Grub. He's software, or he plays with the computer. And Joe Cook is he was a project manager in the same company, and they started the whole barbecue competition a year before than me, and so they had the Rub and Grub barbecue team, and I think in 2016 they said, "Oh, we are changing a little bit the team, and do you want to come on board?" And yeah, for me, I think the first competition was it was weird. Yeah, pretty different. So it's kind of I think I thought it was just drinking. I didn't realize it had to actually do something. So yeah, so we had after the first, I think it was the middle of the winter here in Adelaide, and yeah, it was like -2. I was freezing cold, drunk, and I think we had a conversation afterwards, and they told me, if you want to keep going, I think you need to actually do something, be part of the team. I think it was I think they were trying to say, and that's when I said, now I need to learn this.
Yeah, right. And so how was that, like, how was that first competition for you? You said it was a bit weird. So was it really different to barbecue competitions that you'd seen in Brazil before?
So the whole idea, and it's quite funny because we didn't have a competition in Brazil. So the
Oh,
American BBQ, the whole is quite new. So that's one thing is happening in Brazil right now. I don't know if you know, meatstock Brazil is going to happen next year. So I think I think 4 or 5 years ago. So for me, it's just different because probably we're gonna talk a little bit more later. But red meat with sauce, it was something quite different. Because back in my mind, I had my dad saying, "Oh, if you marinate red meat, is because it's just about to go off. You don't do that. You don't treat the red meat like that." Because that's like I think the old um, back in the days they thought like, oh, if you marinate it's because it's trying to hide the actual smell.
oh, okay.
Yeah, so so probably for me the American barbecue, yeah, you had pork ribs in the restaurants and stuff like that, but to go actual change my idea of, okay, so it's not a grill, is a smoker, is an offset, you know, like it's not charcoal, you have a wood, and yeah, but it's awesome. It's
Yeah.
a completely new experience. It's pretty good.
Yeah, right. And so what's been your favorite barbecue competition to be at in Australia so far?
Uh, Meatstock, I have to say, it's just it's something different. I love meat. It's pretty cool. We have a couple of locals here. It's good. Yeah, I think interstate. Well, we went to the Invitational in Sydney as well. So yeah, I love that. I love the way they put the show together.
That's a long way to go from South Australia. Did you fly in or did you go crazy and drive?
The first time we drove, so we had the trailer. So yeah, it was Kaya and I and Paul at the time. It's another friend of ours, and yeah, we had 2 days to actually drive, but it was good fun. Hot, I think I think in, Australian Brewing that was the competition. That was the first time. I think it was 2017, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like right at the start of the Australian summer too. It's in like it's at the either the end of November or the start of December. So I can imagine that would have been real hot.
We went to Bunnings next door, and we bought like 3 fans, one each, and just in front of us the whole time.
Nice. That's a good strategy. Now you've mentioned Meatstock Brazil and how competition scene has started up over there. A couple of years ago, you actually went to Churrascada. Can you tell us about that experience?
Oh yeah, I think a couple of people already mentioned about it. Yeah, it was. I think it was something special. Special. I don't know. Everybody says it was special for them, but for me, it was even more that you see a group of Aussies that should go to my hometown or a place I still love. Yeah, I love to visit. I love to spend time there. So the whole idea was a group of Australian going, and a Jay put a post and say, who wants to come? And I said, oh, I'd love to come, but I don't know if I'm gonna if I can pass through my wife, because that's the work as well, because I was working full-time work and there are 2 weeks off, and I said, I'll give my wife a call just in case, have a chat, see what was gonna happen. And we had a quick chat, and she said, oh, what do you think? And I said, oh, I don't know, I don't want to go because that's quite expensive. She said, but think about it, if it don't go, they're not gonna have the real experience. And I said, oh, she gave me the thumbs up. So I called my boss. My boss, oh no, you're not gonna happen. So my wife allowed me to go. It's gonna happen. And that's when we went. So it was pretty good. It's good to see, and like they were excited about the whole scene and the whole barbecue. It's just different. It's different. Like it's hard to actually say anything, but it's pretty good to be in Brazil and see everybody enjoying the time.
Yeah, it must have been a fantastic experience. So how like was the Churrascada festival, was it really authentic Brazilian, or was it more of a thing put on for tourists, or was it like a hybrid of different barbecue styles?
I think the best part is they try to welcome everybody. So Hayden or the Blackbirds, the guys, they were invited to be part of to actually cook lamb. So it's something is we are proud of, and that's quite good. So they pick different chefs from different places. Say, okay, what are you good at, and what are you proud of, and bring over. And of course, you have the traditional South America Brazilian barbecue at the same time. So you have the picanha, you have the open fires, beef ribs, so that sort of thing. They mix it up. So I believe it was 48 or 50 different chefs cooking live fire, and so it's a massive event, and became friends. We were supposed to actually do much more, and we are waiting for the time to come.
Yeah, no one can really go anywhere just at the moment, but I can imagine that you're just sort of chomping at the bit to get back out there and get back over there. So what was your favorite part of the festival?
I think it's hard to say, but it's everything. Now, I think for me is to actually go back, and because Brazil is pretty similar. The Australians, they are pretty laid back, easygoing, and very welcome. And it was quite good to actually see that like the two different backgrounds actually joined together and having fun. And so I think probably it's pretty funny to actually see the guys trying to actually talk in different language, and they getting to get like having fun together, even with different languages.
So were they all trying to learn Portuguese on their iPhones on the way over on the plane?
Nah, not really. They they rely on me, like just they ask me every single thing. Yeah, try my best, but it was pretty hard after a few beers to keep going.
Yeah. When I went to Korea, the first word I learned to say was Australian, and the second
Yeah,
word I learned to say was beer.
yeah, I travel quite a lot, and because my day job and the first word I learn in every single place, I try to, of course, sometimes it's impossible, but it's beer. You need to survive. You need to keep going.
Got a project you'd like to work on with the SHC team? Shoot Ben an email on ben@smokinghotconfessions.com and let's have a conversation.
All right, so this is probably a good point now to sort of dive right into the South American style of barbecue. So let's sort of kick things off with sort of putting low and slow to the side and just thinking about what has been traditionally been barbecue in Australia. You know, grilling sausages and steaks and whatnot. How is the traditional Brazilian barbecue different to traditional Aussie barbecue?
Uh, I think it's the gas and charcoal is a major because yeah, in Brazil we don't have the gas barbecue. It's the hot plate. It's just it's something. It was something different when I got here. If you're gonna go outside, it's just probably because it's easy. Not it's not easier if you think about it because gas is just turn on and that's it. It's just but is from our nature is charcoal the whole and briquettes is something new in Brazil as well or in South America. It's more yeah just and I think the way we cook is more about like I said before um is get together and have a like couple of like snacks in between drinks and here is you can see everybody sits down and eat the whole meal and yeah that's it we finish barbecue and for me was quite different so yeah wait a minute we just have a meal here what we're gonna do after and in Brazil you go like start midday and 2 o'clock in the morning you try to actually find out if you have some leftovers in the freezer to actually try to throw in the barbecue, see if yeah, just cook it. So yeah, it's just different. We would say barbecue is not a sprint; it's a marathon.
Yeah.
Start slowly and keep going.
Yeah, one of my other hobbies is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and so we occasionally have these parties with our Brazilian instructor, and it's exactly that. He says, turn up at my house at any time after midday, and any time after midday, there's just always something on the grill, and instead of like it being taken off and put on a plate and given to a person, they slice it all up into tiny little pieces, put all the little pieces on a plate, and then everybody's got like their own little toothpick or their own little fork, and the plate goes around and you just take like a piece or two and then the plate will come around again in about another 30 minutes and you take another one and yeah, it just sort of goes throughout the day.
Yeah. So and you like the guy on grill, like the person cooking, you try to actually keep in mind you need to rotate the meat, so you don't want to serve all the rum cap first. You want to give like a slice of rum cap and come back with chicken and pork and so give you the whole changing a little bit because if you don't like think about it, if you don't like red meat just white meat you're gonna have to wait for your time so you always feed something different and that's the beauty that's one thing I love to do actually keep cooking and the only rule is you need to provide beer for the guy in cooking.
Yeah. I got into trouble at one of our jiu-jitsu parties because I was the guy cooking, and so everybody just kept bringing me booze, and the night didn't end well for me. But I had a good time until that point.
Yeah, I think that's something very I'll say South American Brazilian because similar thing with samba. So we in bars if you go to bars you have a group a band playing if you keep feeding beers or alcohol or any source of drinks, they keep playing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's now you said that, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Now I went to a Brazilian restaurant in Sydney once a couple of years ago, and I've always been curious to know just how traditional this place actually was. They would put giant chunks of meat and use a sword as a skewer, and then fit the sword into a rotisserie, and then that would spin. And then when it was cooked, they'd pull the sword off the rotisserie, bring it over to your table, and then with another sword, cut slices off onto your plate from the swords. Is that like another traditional form, or was that more theatre than tradition?
Now in Brazil, you have a typical Brazilian restaurant we call churrascaria. Churrasco is barbecue, so that's the quick translation. So it's quite common. You have just people, like the waiters coming and shaving the meat in your plate. So similar thing what we do in our backyard, they do in the restaurants, and you have that sort of sign. I don't know if you've seen green and red on the table. Yeah, so so you have like a piece of wood or anything. So half is painted in green and half in red. So you can sit and it just turn. If you turn green up, they keep bringing meat. So you can turn to red, they're gonna stop. So give you time to actually have a conversation or digest a little bit, relax, and you can turn again to back to green, and they come back to you. So that's the way the waiters can see who wants meat or not.
That's a really good idea. I like that. I haven't actually seen that before.
Yeah, it's quite common. It's very common.
Yeah, I like that. And you mentioned before about steak and sausage, and how when you were growing up, steak was kind of rare, but sausage was far more common. What are some of the Brazilian like flavor profiles of sausage?
So, like I said, is we have a massive Italian background. So the traditional barbecue sausage for us called Tuscan.
Oh, okay, probably, yep.
Yeah, so it's very like garlic and onion sort of flavor. Very common pork sausage, and that's kind of you have to have in every single barbecue, because that's, like I said, it's just the starter. Just let's feed the crowd first before we go over the nice cuts. That's a funny story, because I've been living here for 15 years, and I think it was 7 years ago, I couldn't find anything close. It just was hard and not going. And I still, don't get me wrong, I love Kronsky, I love chorizo, I love Italian sausage, steak sausage, but I couldn't find, so I had to actually come up with my own recipe.
Okay, that sounds good.
I'm very proud of. Very proud.
Yeah, I'll bet. I bet it's a favorite with the friends of the kids too.
Yeah, because so that's the one. I don't know if you had a chance to see the meatstock videos. That's the one I did, the choripan.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's better than bunnies.
Yeah, so much better. So much. And so the cooking styles, they seem to be predominantly grilling or rotisserie. Is there much like low and slow smoking done in Brazil?
So if you think about the open fire cooking as smoking, so we have a different technique. We don't have the peat. It's more about actually large cuts and just go with the open fire and just wait. It's a good excuse to drink a little bit more and watch the fire.
Fair enough. I do like the sound of that. Now, picanha is probably the most well-known of the Brazilian cuts. What else should we be looking for here in Australia? Like, are there other cuts on the cow? Is it lamb? Is it pork? What else should we be looking for?
I think the three, or four, I'll say four, because you guys are quite lucky with the beef hump. It's my favorite. I think I'll go. Yeah, that's my top in the list. It's hard to find here down south. Pretty sad. I'm gonna move to Queensland just because of that. It's so beef hump. So if you go to a Brazilian restaurant, in Brazil. So it's not Brazilian restaurant; it's a restaurant in Brazil. You have a beef hump. You have a picanha, of course, and tri-tip, and skirt steak. That I think that's the top 4 red meat. With white meat is chicken thighs on a bone and with skin on.
Okay.
I love a good rotisserie with skin on, crisp skin, and yeah, that's good. We're talking chicken heart is something you have to have in every single barbecue, and pork chops. Yeah, lamb is I don't know. It's like lamb is more is more Australian thing. I haven't. Yeah, it's quite hard to actually find in Brazil. It's more regional countryside.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, right. And so your difficulty in getting some of these cuts in Australia, is that what led you to open up your butcher shop?
Yeah, yeah. So no, I'm joking. No, the whole idea is what happened. Kai and I we had the team together, and our sponsor it was the manager, because we had a meat sponsor. I know there was a big shop here in South Australia, and the manager became a really good friend. And at some point in 2019, they told us, "Oh, we're gonna." They asked us to move places, and I'm not gonna go ahead with the shop. I'm gonna close down the shop, and this is business decision. And the guy said, "Oh, the manager say, yeah, I think I need to find something else. I lost the job, and was just a small shop was on sale close by, and we're looking, so let's do something different. That meet our needs is our shop. We just opened up just before the big slowdown last year. Just yeah, so it's kind of we're doing well. We're trying to do something different. It's not just a butcher shop, a day shop. We have the South America cuts, the sausage, the recipes. So I have 3 recipes. So the of course the Toscana, the smoked calabresa is just a smoked Brazilian sausage. And Kai and I, we have a recipe together. Is a hot link. We came up, and that's sort of thing. We have a lot of spices, rubs, wood. The whole idea was to have the barbecue and the butcher shop together, and we could teach different techniques to the customers.
Yeah,
We're still
beautiful.
trying to find a ways with all the restrictions, but we get there.
Yeah. Now you did mention right at the start there that you do have a full-time job. So how do you manage to run a butcher shop? Because I know that a lot of work needs to go into a butcher shop. Do you do you just sleep like on the train each morning? Is that 30-minute nap? Is that all you get?
It's just be honest. Kane is the 3rd business partner. He's the manager, the butcher, and yeah, he's the king. He does most of the job. Kai and I, we're just good looking and just shows up. Yeah, we have I think it works quite well when we have a different task for different people. Like Kyle is great with the social media. He kills, and I have to be honest. And when you have 2 business partners like Kyle and Ken, I realize it's pretty close names, Kyle and Ken. Is good because everybody knows what we're supposed to do, and just yeah, we have a small conflict, but yeah, that's
I think that's to be expected. Yeah. Now, one of the other things that you've also done, so on top of a full-time job, on top of like starting a butcher shop, you've also got BRZ Foods, and I've got a couple of them just sitting right here on the table. So there's a picanha rub, and you've got Gringo, Mojo, and Mexicana. So you're really bringing the South American flavors into the barbecue spice rub scene. Give us a bit of an idea about how all that started.
So what happened is, after the competition 2016, get excited, try to spend money. As everybody know, the cost to go to a competition, it can be quite challenging time to time. I think, yeah. So my wife said, "Oh yeah, I love you have a hobby. It's great, but you're not gonna add this extra stuff in the family budget." Fair enough. And I thought I had some cash inside for a PlayStation, so I was pretty keen to actually to buy a new PlayStation. And I said, "Oh, I'll buy some spices, and because I was trying the Gringo. The Gringo is the first one. We're putting a couple of SCA, SCA. Oh yeah. So like
SCA. Yeah.
chicken, the Gringo chimichurri, is that right? Chimichurri, because that's quite common marinade or sauce in South America. And I had the recipe. Everybody, like, I was giving away. Everybody was loving. It was perfect. And I said, "Oh, I'll create a batch, and I'll sell it, and I get extra cash." And that's what to actually try to move with the competition. And that's kind of grew, because the next one was, I had the recipe for picanha, because that, like, South American style is rock salt. You don't touch red meat with different things, and I always had that recipe with herbs just to give a different flavor. And so that's what happened is I had two recipes. There was something I was common in my place, and everybody loved it. Common, and like every barbecue say, "Oh, give me something," and I love to give away, and I realized that's not a good business.
No, that's not a good business model.
Yeah, I think it's like you said, after like you cooking barbecue, have a few drinks, you become really friendly, and that's when you say, "Oh no, take, yeah, I'll make more, and don't worry." And that's kind of, and that's when I thought, I'll go start selling it here and there, and we had the butcher shops us selling to actually get the money to keep going the competition. And the other two is, I think the one after was Mexicana. Mexicana. I work in a Mexican restaurant here in South Australia, and when I got here, and that was my favorite. My favorite sauce. It was mole poblano. Mole poblano is a mix of chocolate with chili,
Oh, wow.
and that's the rub. I kind of was the flavor in my head was, and I think because my background is engineering, or everything I do is kind of percented, and it has to be the same flavor, and I have the flavors in my head, and it goes, and that's when I develop the recipes. It's always going back and forth, and adding 10 grams of one ingredient, and trying, and it's, yeah. My family sometimes get a little bit unhappy. Let's say unhappy. It's because every Sunday, so that's the same recipe. No, has 10 grams. One of the ingredients I changed. No, it's the same recipe. And I said, no, it's just a little bit different. But that's my head working.
Yeah, right. And so how do you differentiate then when you're making all those little tiny 10-gram changes? Do you end up with like 5 different ones at once, and then you taste each one, and then you decide which formula you like the best?
So what happened is, I have a spreadsheet. I have something. I'll go every time. I'll log the different recipe, and I'll write down in the containers the sample, and I'll go back and forward, and sometimes I mix two, and I see goes better, or I need to throw in a bean. Oh, most of the time, yeah, it's quite good. But yeah, I had a few times. No, I'm gonna start over again.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting stuff. And I understand that you're even now working on a collaboration with your, like, in terms of your spice rub range.
So that's something quite new. It's just I think we've been thinking that for a while. I think it was the last time we catch up. So Jay Beaumont, from Meat Lab, or I think everybody knows Jay. I think the first time we record the videos, like one of my first videos was rum cab. We're in his place, had few beers, and I think we had another few beers, and we come up with a couple of ideas. Actually, have a range of spices. That's something different, something we both like, and so back and forth, we'll send partials to Paul Macquarie back in and start over again in a week. I think we are with 5 ideas, so different rubs, and he's hopefully he's finishing the labels, and we're gonna release a whole series of Meat Lab rubs.
Wow, that's cool. What sort of different flavor profile types have you got?
So at the moment we're starting with different proteins, so beef, chicken, lamb, pork, one more, and salt and pepper.
Okay.
That one more is a secret.
Oh, sure.
Now,
Sure. I won't tell anybody.
Okay. Now, I think he came up with a brilliant idea of a seafood rub. I'm pretty happy.
Nice. I'd love to see some more seafood in the Australian barbecue scene, and getting a nice seafood rub out there would be really important in doing that.
Yeah, no, I think you guys have the best sort of range of seafood, so why not?
You're listening to the internationally awarded Smoking Hot Confessions podcast with massive barbecue nerd Ben Arnott.
Alrighty, Adriano, we're now in the third segment of the show, and this is the part of the show where the guest gets to share some knowledge, impart some wisdom to the viewers and the listeners. And so today you're going to be telling us about chicken hearts, like a traditional Brazilian dish of chicken hearts. So over to you, my friend. Tell us all about chicken hearts.
So I was thinking the picanha, but Hayden actually took over a couple of episodes ago, so it's kind of will be a little bit rep. So the whole idea is the one thing we do quite a lot in every single barbecue, like I said, is picanha, sausage, pork sausage, and chicken heart. So chicken heart is common as a starter. Everybody loves I like my kids always say is just a sausage bite. That's the nickname here, because we try to actually hide what was the idea of chicken heart. So they've been eating since day one, like little kids, as sausage bites. Now they know, they understand, but they still eating. So the whole idea is keep simple. So marinate overnight with salt, pepper, oregano. I personally like to actually use gringo, just mix gringo, because that's kind of. But if you want to keep simple, just to try the flavor, is salt, pepper, oregano, and lime.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that's putting the secret. And it's not a secret. It's just get like bamboo skewer, and it's just put all the chicken hearts. It's just easier. It's actually cook on the grill. Because can imagine the actual manage every single one falling between the holes, and so they put it in skewer, small skewer, and just flip it, get like a gold color outside, and ready to go.
Yeah, it sounds like it'd be very quick to cook, because the chicken hearts would only be quite small, wouldn't they?
Yeah. So it has like a good flavor.
Right. And so that was salt, pepper, oregano, and lime.
Yeah.
I love that there's lime in there. I love cooking with lime.
Yeah, no, so give it the flavor. Every single thing I do, like white meat, I love to marinate with a lime, like olive oil and lime mix. That's kind of something my way to go, and a little bit or vinegar.
Okay, so is it a wet or a dry marinade?
Wet.
Ah, okay. So it's lime juice rather than like a powdered lime or a zest of lime.
No, yeah. So this is a wet lime juice. Yeah, just
Oh,
get it like
delicious.
the marinade. So you get the marinade from and just leave it overnight.
Oh, okay, cool. And what does the final texture come out like as chicken hearts? I've never tried it.
Sorry, can you say it?
What's the final texture like? Is it similar to in texture to a steak, or is it similar to a chicken breast? What's the texture?
No, yeah. So my son says, and it's quite honest. It's a sausage, like a barbecue sausage. So it's quite like it's hard. Yeah. So that's why the nickname came uh sausage bites.
Okay, all right, okay, yeah. I wasn't too sure about that, about why they were called sausage bites. I was going to ask that. Yeah.
Same texture.
Okay, cool, gotcha. That's interesting because sausages are obviously ground, and the chicken hearts are not ground. They're done whole. So that's
Yeah,
interesting that they've got a similar texture.
yeah, yeah. You should try. Give it a go.
I will. I will. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're due to start getting ready for our next BJJ Christmas party. So I'll have to get that
Do
sorted.
the rest. Yeah, try this recipe. See if it is a winner or not, and let me know.
I will. I will. I've got plenty of gringo here, so I should be good to give that a crack.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah. The mojo, extra mojo. Normally I do with white meat with chicken. I mix it up because the gringo doesn't have salt. Yeah.
okay.
So normally that's my all-purpose. So, but it's all-purpose, but you have the South American sort of flavors or ingredients inside. So I'll mix it up a little. So I instead of actually add salt on the gringo, I'll put a mojo. So it works
Oh,
quite well.
okay. There's a good tip.
Yeah.
Very nice. Now, one quick question. It's off
Yeah.
topic from chicken hearts. One thing that I have heard about is it's like an inverted picanha. So they take like a whole piece of picanha, slice it down through the top, get a meat hook, pull it inside out, stuff it, stitch it, and then put it back on the grill. Is that common in your part of Brazil?
Nah.
Okay.
No,
But
yeah, I'll be honest. Some people think this is, yeah, you killing the picanha,
oh,
and
okay.
'cause that's quite the sacred part of that, as you know, everybody loves is the salty fat layer.
Yep.
When you actually invert the rum cap, the picanha, the fat gets inside and doesn't get that gold crispy sort of flavor everybody loves, and that yeah, I tried a few times. It's good to put in the oven and do a roast. Works quite well, but you have to add a lot of bacon, cheese, and gotta pump it up for the flavor. So, but if I do it on a barbecue, I prefer to actually keep simple.
Okay, cool. Gotcha.
But,
Now
but it's a massive debate in Brazil.
oh,
Some people
okay.
love it.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, we have had a question come through here for you from Shannon Walker. He wants to know who taught you the most in terms of barbecue.
Oh, since day one, Shannon Walker.
Oh, there you go. That's why he asked the question.
He's a good friend of mine. I think it was I think my team, Kyle, John Cook, like, and I was talking about South American barbecues. Yeah, my dad. But
Beautiful.
Shannon Walker is a big part of my learning curve.
Yeah, he's a top dude, and he's got his new book out, and he's part of the mental blank Black Bear Barbecue crew as well, isn't he?
Yeah. No, we became great friends. Yeah, that's the jokes around and jokes are apart. But he's a guy I love to actually call him every week and have a laugh.
Fair enough. Sounds great to me. All right, now I'm going to start wrapping up the show now. So I'm going to throw it over to you. Give some thanks, give some shout outs, give some praise to people that have helped you out along the way. And also tell everybody where they can track down Meet Your Needs, BRZ, and Meat Lab on the internet.
Okay, so first I think I need to thanks my my wife, because she deals with me every single day with different ideas. Thank God she sometimes stops the idea before I start, because I think I have enough at the moment. So they're great. My family is my biggest thing I achieve, I think, in my life. My boys are great, big supporters. Love to actually share my barbecue with friends. My business partners, Kyle, Kane from Media Needs, John. We're still doing the barbecue competition when time comes, of course. The guys from Churrascada, they kind of, there was it was a great trip, but that's when I realized I could actually go further with the Brazilian South American barbecue here, and the people wants to learn. And that's kind of, before was kind of, oh, everybody loves American barbecue, but they actually made I think changed my mind with this sort of thing. So yeah, Jay, Shannon, Hayden, all the boys, George, the guys from Weber Cattle Club, George, Evan, Craig, Mono, Glenn from Cha Cha Cha. Yes. So we became a huge family. And everybody from the barbecue community. I think that's one thing I forgot to mention. Was pretty good as foreigner or to actually blend in, and I think I realized we have the same sort of passion, and that's when it's good when you have something common to have a chat, and it helped them quite a lot. So to follow me, I have my own Instagram is Diary of a Griller. BRZ Food, Instagram, Facebook is the rubs, the South America rubs. Now I need to start saying that. Meter Needs, Butcher is just Meter Needs. Meat Lab with Jay, now he's doing a great job there. And I have the videos from BRZ Foods, YouTube, BRZ Foods. It's just trying to actually do more to explain South American barbecue.
Fantastic, mate. Look, thank you very much for your time. I realise that it is it's the middle of a Saturday on a weekend during a school holiday, so you probably got hungry kids just about ready to kick down the door and storm your office there. So I'm going to say thank you very much for your time, and I'm looking forward to seeing you around again on the circuit as soon as things open up and we can start to travel again.
Yeah, 100%. Thanks a lot for the opportunity. It's good to actually explain a little bit more my background and share the love.
Anytime, mate. Thanks again for coming on board.
Thanks, appreciate it.
And there you have it, family. That was the one and only Adriano Andrade from BRZ Foods, Meet Your Needs, Meat Lab. I mean, the guy is everywhere in the barbecue scene at the moment. And it's great to see the way that he's been able to bring his traditional Brazilian styles of barbecue and fuse it with the Aussie styles and the low and slow scene and sort of bring it all together and really carve out his own little niche there. It's really fascinating to see how he's done it and the projects that he's got in the works at the moment that I'm looking forward to seeing them come into fruition in the future. Now, before we round out today, I just need to give you a quick reminder of the announcements from the top of the episode. So we do have our killer merch. We've got our T-shirts, we've got our hoodies, we've got our tumblers, we've got all sorts of stuff on there for you. While you're there, grab your free copy of the ebook, The Beginner's Guide to Real Barbecue. Huge shout out this afternoon to the people in the Smoking Hot Confessions barbecue community on Facebook who've joined us for this live podcast recording. We've had a ton of likes and comments and questions come through, so that's really good. And if you're catching this later on any of the socials, do the thing. Give us the likes, the thumbs up, the shares. You know what the things are. Do the things. That really helps us do our thing. And then we would love you forever. And now that really is all the time that we have for today. So until next time, take care of each other and keep on queuing.
Thanks for listening to the Smoking Hot Confessions podcast. Head on over to smokinghotconfessions.com for recipes, tips, and Ben's own confessions.